Good morning. Today is Friday, September 12th. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. President Trump says that with, quote, a high degree of certainty, officials have caught the suspect in the Charlie Kirk killing. NPR's Franco Ordonez reports Trump says the person held responsible should be given the death penalty.
President Trump says a suspect is now in police custody. He said he learned the suspect had been caught just a few minutes before going on set for an interview with Fox and Friends.
Well, I hope he was going to be found guilty, I would imagine, and I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
The arrest follows a widespread search that began soon after the conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot while speaking at a college in Utah on Wednesday. The president said a minister who was involved with law enforcement recognized the suspect from the photos released to the public and went to the suspect's father. Trump said the father, quote, convinced the son to turn himself in. Franco Ordonez, NPR News, New York.
More than 300 South Korean workers who were detained by U.S. immigration authorities have returned home. NPR's Anthony Kuhn reports from Seoul. The workers were setting up a Korean-invested EV battery plant in Savannah, Georgia.
The workers arrived by chartered flight at Incheon International Airport outside Seoul, where they were met by crowds of family and friends, officials and journalists, and a few demonstrators protesting U.S. treatment of the workers. The workers were accused of working illegally. Many were in the U.S. on short-term visas that don't allow employment. To avoid a repeat of this problem, U.S. and South Korean officials say they'll discuss creating new visa categories and quotas for skilled Korean workers. Anthony Kuhn, NPR News, Seoul.
Two Democratic senators have issued a report on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Oregon's Jeff Merkley and Maryland's Chris Van Hollen visited the Middle East and spoke with officials in Israel, the West Bank, Jordan, and Egypt. The senators allege Israel, led by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is engaging in ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in Gaza. Senator Van Hollen.
From our trip, from our observations, from our firsthand accounts, it's clear that the Netanyahu government has gone far beyond targeting Hamas to imposing collective punishment on all the people of Gaza.
Senators Van Hollen and Merkley say they are also demanding the release of all Israeli hostages held by Hamas and say they met with hostage families in Israel. The Prime Minister of Qatar is in Washington today for meetings with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The State Department says the meetings will be at the White House. This comes after Israel conducted an airstrike on Qatar's capital Tuesday. Israel targeted top Hamas leaders. 6 people died, but none appear to be senior Hamas leaders. Qatar and other Arab nations are furious. The United Nations Security Council meets today. Members will discuss Russia's incursion into Polish airspace this week. More than a dozen Russian attack drones flew into Poland. Some of these drones were shot down by Polish and NATO aircraft. Brazil's Supreme Court has convicted former President Jair Bolsonaro for trying to overthrow his government after he lost his 2022 presidential election. He's been sentenced to more than 27 years in prison. Julia Carneiro reports from Rio de Janeiro.
This lengthy prison term for Jair Bolsonaro follows a momentous trial that has gripped Brazil. The divisive far-right leader was convicted on all 5 charges, including attempting a coup, violently abolishing the rule of law, and leading a criminal organization. Votes to convict were 4-1 in the panel made up of 5 Supreme Court justices. The 7 other defendants were also found guilty. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the court had unjustly ruled to imprison Bolsonaro, and the United States would, quote, respond accordingly to this witch hunt.
Julia Carneiro reporting. Pop star Sabrina Carpenter tops this week's Billboard charts. NPR's Stephen Thompson reports.
This week, the Billboard Albums chart features just one debut in the top 10, Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter. The album Man's Best Friend debuts at number 1, but Carpenter's success this week runs deeper than that. She also lands 2 songs in the top 5, Man-Child, which topped the chart earlier this summer, and her new single, Tears. Tears enters the Billboard singles chart at number 3, but it's not alone. Thanks mostly to streaming, all 12 songs from Man's Best Friend land in the top 40. Stephen Thompson, NPR News.
And I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News from Washington.